Here we are. So first of all, I'm Giovanni Valenti. I've been involved in network marketing, sales, and communication for 30 years. This year marks my 30th anniversary. I'll turn 47 on June 11th, so that's coming up soon, but on April 12th, I celebrated 30 years in my career. So today, I'm speaking to you based on my 30 years of hands-on experience, during which I've worked in 7 different companies. As for network marketing, I've been working in crypto since 2016. So let's say I've seen a few things and I know how to do a few things. And what I want to tell you is not that I'm great, but simply that I can help you understand things from another point of view. Having, so to speak, experienced all the phases of the market, of various markets, because I've sold products, services, and so on. But above all, there's one fundamental thing. I want you to understand, if you're here right now as a guest, if you're new, if you're just starting out, or if you've just begun working with us, what I want you to understand is that anyone who starts here, maybe without experience or anything like that, can really make a difference by following the system, following what's already been done, but above all, by using the tools we've created specifically for this. I'll use some slides so you can really follow along easily, because I understand that for many people, this is the first time. Maybe it's your first time listening to this presentation, so I'll put it in full screen so everyone can see it. Okay, in theory, you should be able to see it, right? Okay, perfect. So what's fundamental? First of all, welcome everyone, but most importantly, I want to tell you right away who this type of webinar is for and who it is not for. First of all, if you are looking for income, new sources of income, which doesn't mean you have to quit your job, but simply that you want to add something, a sort of plan B, especially right now, since there's a huge mess out there and we don't know what will happen tomorrow. We don't even know what's happening today with war, viruses going around, disasters, right? Having a plan B can be useful. So if you're looking for something to add alongside what you're already doing, or if you're a student or currently unemployed and looking for your first activity, this could be right for you. If you have an entrepreneurial mindset, so maybe you want to actually create a business, starting even with a small amount, because let's be honest, out there, starting a business, I've had restaurants, I've had bars, I've had various things. Every time the financial outlay is extremely high. Here, on the other hand, the great thing is, and you'll understand this during this presentation, which will actually be very brief, because it doesn't take much time to explain such a simple business. You'll see that with just a small amount of money, and especially with this money coming back to you, because I'll explain how our product, while you're learning, actually generates income for you. Okay, so you can start a business. I'm not saying at zero cost, because that would be a lie. Nothing in life is free, but definitely in a much more accessible way. Another important thing, if you're someone who wants to learn, who wants to challenge themselves, this is the right place for you. Here, you can truly learn from anyone. You can learn even if you're starting from scratch. Even if you have zero knowledge in this field, it's not a problem, because we'll teach you everything you need from step 1 to step 100. So there's no issue. We'll support you every step of the way. Another important thing, if you want to separate your earnings from your time, know that over time you will build a business that, with or without you, will continue to generate income, higher or lower, depending on how you've worked, the quality of the work you've done, and so on. Because we are always paid based on what we produce, so it's only natural that it works this way. This isn't for you if you're looking for scratch cards, little games, or nonsense like put 2 euros here and they'll turn into 1,000 euros. In that case, in my opinion, you need therapy, you need psychological support, because if you think money is made that way, then it's a mental problem. Moreover, if you prefer a guaranteed fixed salary, we're not a company looking for workers or employees and so on, so there's no point in being here. And if you're not willing to train yourself and change as a person, you'll never be able to grow in this business. So this isn't for you. And above all, if you're closed-minded and don't want to listen with an open mind to a new kind of business and so on, just forget it. Now feel free to leave the Zoom, it's no problem. This way you might save yourself 15 to 20 minutes and you can watch the game on TV. Now, some fundamental things. Life tests us every day, we know that. We all go through the same things, all of us, every single person. And right now, stress is the biggest illness affecting everyone. We see it because people are stressed everywhere. There is a lot of loneliness, especially after we were in lockdown a few years ago. People now only talk to each other through social media, but they no longer meet in person. Lately, there are really low expectations. People have stopped dreaming. They've stopped believing in things because they're afraid. They see that money is scarce. They see that geopolitics right now is a complete mess. But in reality, it's always been that way. It's just that we used to have less information before. Above all, you're giving up. Maybe you realize that you're giving up your own time and your family's time. Why? because maybe you need more money to live, so you work more hours, you look for a second job, but you can't associate that quality time with the people you love. Also because in a traditional job, usually the environment is very toxic because everyone is trying to undermine each other. It's every man for himself. We know how it works, and especially right now, if we look at things like the price of gas going up because of the Strait of Hormuz and whatever else, in reality, inflation, taxes, and so on and so forth would still go up anyway. We are in a global test. So if your life is perfect right now and you feel great, feel free to leave this Zoom. You don't need it. But if you also feel that you have one of these issues, stay here until the end. Keep an open mind, because today I'm going to give you a solution. It's not the only solution in the world, but it's a valid one that we are using to feel good. I'm telling you, I make a living from this, so I live very well. Of course, it didn't take me just one day. I had to learn how to do it, just like everyone has to learn how to do it. But it can be done, okay? Now, we are a movement for independence, first and foremost for personal independence, but also for economic independence. It is a movement made up of leaders and entrepreneurs who have decided to come together to bring people a business on the internet. And above all, Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is the people's currency, the currency that will set us free. Don't think of Bitcoin as that currency that will just do a twofold, threefold, fourfold, fivefold increase, even though that's what it's doing. It's achieving incredible numbers. I started with Bitcoin in 2016. My first Bitcoin cost me $350. If we look at it today, it's at $65,000 to $70,000. So we're really talking about crazy numbers, but that's the past. I can't predict the future. What I do know is that if I need to send money to a loved one, I have to do it through a bank transfer, through the bank. Maybe the bank tells me, no, I won't let you send it because this money is leaving. When we put money in the bank, it becomes the bank's money. Instead, Bitcoin is like having cash, only it's digital, so transporting it is very simple. But more than that, we manage it ourselves and we know where we put it. No one touches it, no one takes it from us. So we go back to being the owners of our own money, which for me is fundamental. Okay, I don't know about you, but for me, this is the most important thing. Now, for our business, we rely on IBM SPA, okay, from which we take our name, Digital Business Movement, right? So DBM SPA was founded on April 14th, 2023. Then on June 1st, 2023, the network marketing division was launched. I know this because I was there, since at this moment I hold the highest rank worldwide, and also the #1 code. And today I wanted to be here precisely because next week we're basically entering the new, let's say the new year for the company, meaning that now on June 1st we'll mark 3 years, we'll close the startup phase. We've tested everything. We've tested the product, we've tested the market, we've even tested, so to speak, the love that people can have for this product. We have about 10,000 clients within the company. It's a regulated joint stock company. It deals with all-inclusive mining. That's what it does. It does only this, and it does it very well because I believe companies should specialize in what they do. And we rely on this company because they specialize in exactly what we need, in what interests us. And above all, because it's an Italian joint stock company with its headquarters in Italy. In fact, let me explain. We have 7 registered offices in various countries, but our physical headquarters is in Rome. By the way, on June 6th, it's possible to visit it. You just need to buy a small ticket, which will also allow you to attend a major event being held in Rome on the 7th. And on the 6th, you can easily visit the office, meet the founders, the leaders, and so on. Because a company like ours is transparent, so there are no issues. You just need to decide to make a difference, and the tools are available. We only operate in countries where we are legally authorized, so we clearly use our global offices accordingly. For example, we use the European offices for work in Europe and the global ones for the rest of the world and so on. But let me give you an example. We have an office in Astana because to work in Asia, you need a local office. When we need an office in Latin America, we will have an office in Latin America. In other words, we do everything legally with branches and local VAT numbers, fully compliant with local laws. Because 3 of the founders are very prominent lawyers and they care deeply about legality. I myself care a great deal about legality. For me, the most important things are legality, transparency, and then long-term sustainability. Now, a very important thing, let's take a small step back. We were talking about mining, about crypto, about Bitcoin. Well, Bitcoin, I talk about Bitcoin and not about crypto in general because I love Bitcoin. I am madly in love with Bitcoin. For me, it is the currency. We work with Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Kaspa, okay? But when I talk to someone new, I always start with Bitcoin because if you don't understand Bitcoin, you can't understand everything else. The great thing is that in our business, you don't need to understand anything complicated. You don't need to be technical because we rely on DBM, who are the technical experts. We simply take care of deciding how to start this business. And then Friday, which will now become Monday, with the new, let's say, the new release of our back office. We simply focus on withdrawing what our machines have produced, what our machines have generated. I'll tell you what in a moment, but just know that cryptocurrencies are among the most high-performing assets we're seeing in history during this period. I can say that banks, even Italian ones, are entering this world. Crypto, Intesa San Paolo is a great example. The SEC approved the first ETF on January 10th, 2024. So by now, Bitcoin is also on the stock exchange for those who work in the stock market. Seriously, as I used to say, yes, it wasn't on the stock exchange before, but now it is. So even our seniors now know about Bitcoin properly. Even the United States is accelerating innovation in crypto with new regulations, adoption, and so on. You should know that even right now, regarding the SEC and so forth, the latest election resulted in a president who has a deep passion for Bitcoin. Just to give you an idea, this is the first time this has happened, okay? So a very important thing to understand is that there are 3 ways to set aside Bitcoin, to work with Bitcoin. To start building up a little nest egg in Bitcoin, because we've understood that Bitcoin is a currency of the future, actually a currency of the present. It's a currency I like because it grows over time. It's anti-inflationary, so it goes against inflation. I'm not going to stand here and tell you that there are only 21 million units. So it can't be counterfeited. It can't be in quotation marks. I can say that it will never undergo inflation because since you can't produce more money, more Bitcoin, like you can with euros, dollars, and so on, it will never undergo inflation. In fact, it goes against inflation because every 4 years the production is halved. So in reality, it's anti-inflationary. So it has a lot of advantages that you can look into more deeply at your leisure. Just type Bitcoin in a simple way on the internet and you'll find a ton of information. Wonderful information, by the way, that's worth knowing. But we're not here to become Bitcoin experts. We're here to understand how to set aside as much as possible in a conservative way and above all in a simple way, meaning without having to be scientists, okay? So there are 3 ways to do it. Holding, which is what I used to do before I learned about DBM. I would buy them, set them aside, and forget about them because then I just wait for years to pass before exchanging them. But there's always that thing where every time the market goes up or down, etc., you get scared and want to sell. So those who fall into panic selling end up selling and lose the value they could have had in a few years, okay? The idea is to hold on to them for the long term. Okay, then there's trading. Trading, I worked at a company that sold trading courses and I saw a lot of people get hurt. So when someone talks to me about trading, I turn the other way. Not because it's not a serious thing, it is serious. If you spend 90% of your day in front of a computer, you become antisocial. That's all you do. You're a professional, you have to be a bit like a machine because obviously you need to remove emotions, feelings, and so on. Otherwise, 95% of people lose 95% of their capital in the first 95 days. So trading isn't something I would recommend even to my worst enemy, okay? I've seen a lot of people lose a lot of money, not because it's not a serious thing, but because it's very difficult to be profitable over time, okay? Mining, on the other hand, is that thing where I buy my machine, plug it into the power, and every day it generates some coins for me, okay? Few or many, depending on the blockchain, but it does its job every day. Both those who hold and those who trade, they get the coins from those who have done mining. Okay, so I'll make it very simple for you, okay, because that's where they come from. Mining means generating the coins, basically. There are these supercomputers that have to do calculations, since there is no bank with Bitcoin. Because if I make a bank transfer, the bank certifies that there has been a transaction from me to John Doe who received my money, okay? The bank certifies it, but here, 2 supercomputers, 5 supercomputers, 10, 100, however many are on the network, do it instead. 51% of the computers on the network certify that there has been a transaction, that a certain amount of money has left my account. They went to John Doe. They're not duplicated funds, they're legitimate money. You can see the transaction. You don't know who I am because it's an alphanumeric code and you don't know who John Doe is either. But you can see the amounts, so everything is legitimate. Everything stays legitimate. Why is this a good thing? Because it's secure, it's not something that can be hacked and so on and so forth. Okay. As I said, look into it further, either with the person who brought you here or on YouTube. There are tons of free videos. You can watch as much as you want. In fact, the person who brought you here might even send you some videos about Bitcoin. Just know that my job today is to help you understand that you don't need to be a scientist to do this kind of business. Why? Because it arrives. DBM, what does it do? since right now it's no longer like it was at the beginning in 2008 when Bitcoin started. Mining was really easy, but nobody was using them. Then over time, people started to use them. The first thing they bought was a pizza with, I don't know how many Bitcoins. They're kicking themselves now because with that money, they could actually buy houses. But that's not the point. That transaction was the best transaction they could have made because that's where it all started. Once a transaction happens, trust is created and things move forward. Okay, so what's the fundamental thing to understand? That right now, those computers I mentioned can no longer be regular home computers like the ones people used to run on household electricity. To produce Bitcoin, I'm saying produce to keep it simple is saying if there are any technical people, they'll say mine, but that's fine too. Again, I'm speaking to people who aren't familiar with Bitcoin, so I want to keep things as simple as possible. The key thing to understand is that now you need supercomputers like the ones you see here in the image. These are all servers connected to each other because they need to generate computing power. In order to perform all these calculations and manage to bring home as many rewards as possible, you can no longer do this at home. It has to be done industrially. You need electricity, a huge amount of electricity, which is very expensive. These supercomputers overheat, so you also need cooling systems and so on and so forth. So what do you need? Professionals. DBM. What do they do? This is their job. So could we buy these these supercomputers, have them at home and so on? No, because we wouldn't have enough electricity. It would cost too much and so on and so forth. But what does DBM do? They buy them and set them up in Kazakhstan, in Finland, where they have contracts for electricity, where they have partner companies that host us in large farms and so on and so forth. And what they simply do is give us the possibility to rent in the cloud. Since nowadays, everything is in the cloud. We all know what it is. We all have our little cloud with our files inside. Whether it's for the iPhone or for anything else, we're simply renting remotely. So it's like renting a car to drive. It's all inclusive. I don't have any other expenses. I don't have to change the tires. I don't have to get it serviced. I don't have to do any of those things because they take care of it. DBM takes care of these machines. If a fan breaks, they replace it. If something happens, it's not a problem. They handle it. If the electricity price goes up, they don't make us pay more because we've signed a contract with them for 36 months. It's all inclusive plus 36 months where they just deduct a little bit for the electricity because those extra 36 months are basically a gift to us. Okay, and actually, you're lucky to be watching today. When I started, the contract was for 3 years. Now it's for 6. Okay, so this is a very important point. How can you get started now that we've realized we're interested in these coins? Hi, the more I have set aside, the more money I'll have when its value goes up. I'm happy to have a coin that's outside the regular banking system, and so on and so forth. How can I get as many as possible? Well, the company gives us the chance to have the Legend Kit, which is a whole machine, a supercomputer all for myself. Or I can have half, I can have a quarter, and so on, all the way down to a 32nd, because obviously the company knows that not everyone can afford the same things, but everyone should have the opportunity to do so. So get the biggest one you can afford, but make sure it's within your means. Okay, and then an important thing, how can I pay for it? Simple bank transfer, you can pay with coin payment. So if you have USDT, if you're a bit more experienced and want to pay with crypto, you can easily do that. Credit or debit card. And we've even added PayPal, so we also have PayPal, provided you've been a good payer with your PayPal account, because this depends entirely on you. You can even pay in installments, so it's up to you. The important thing to understand is that the customer chooses the machine they want from the shop, and all they have to do is start it up. After 21 days, it turns on, and from that moment on, for 6 years, the machine is yours, and whatever it produces for you each week, you take home, or you can just leave it there. Because in any case, DBM also gives you your own personal wallet that you can use to deposit your coins, leave them there, and withdraw them whenever you want if you prefer to have them in your own wallet. I don't know, crypto.com, Binance, etc. I'm not giving financial advice. That's not my job. I'm not a financial advisor. Choose whichever one you want, because if it doesn't work for you or you don't know how to use it, that's your business. It doesn't concern me. Those are external matters. As far as IBM is concerned, I will always help you. But when it comes to external matters, that's your business. If you'll allow me the expression. What I'm telling you is choose whichever platform you prefer, put your crypto wherever you want, okay? Now I'll do a quick recap of the first part. We have seen what DBM is, we have seen what DBM does, and above all, we have seen the packages which last 36 plus 36 months, start from 625 and go up to 16,900 euros. I can show you privately whenever you want. I have 4 complete machines, 2 for Bitcoin, 1 for Litecoin, and 1 for Kaspa. So I'm someone who strongly believes in this business. Keep in mind that the Litecoin and Kaspa machines are even more expensive because they go up to practically 27,000 euros. But I truly believe in this business. I'm here not just as I am right now, National Manager, which will be my new title. Starting from the 1st, that's what it will be called. At the moment, I am a diamond in the company, but I'm not just here as someone who works within the company. But before that, I am someone who believes in the company. And I have my own money invested, okay, which is turning into Bitcoin and will become even more over time. Now we've realized that we're interested. We've realized that we like it. We've decided to become customers. We've bought our own piece of rented equipment. Excuse me, with the all-inclusive formula. Well, I have friends who also want to set aside some Bitcoin in a conservative way. Good, very good, but don't do it for free. If you know how to do something, don't do it for free, because after all, you're spreading the word, and word of mouth should be rewarded. DBM is a wonderful company because it says, if you help me bring Bitcoin into more people's homes, why? The company's mission, I repeat, is to bring digital technology and Bitcoin into as many homes as possible in a simple way. And to help these people set aside Bitcoin in a conservative way, it's simple. I repeat, simple twice, because it's not easy, but it is simple. Basically, the company pays you, it rewards you for doing this. You are the person at the center. You can talk to companies, you can talk to other people like yourself, who might be customers at first. You can talk to partners, meaning other people who might also want to help others do the same. The great thing is that the company rewards you with 40% of what is generated, the revenue that is generated. It gets paid out within the network, in this network that is being created, a sort of online franchise. Imagine being a McDonald's manager and opening other McDonald's locations. But here, you're not opening more McDonald's because that would cost $1 million each, right? Here, what you do is involve a person, and they become a sort of franchise point connected to you. You'll work together and generate revenue together. Based on the revenue, you'll receive a small reward according to the compensation plan. I say small, but if you actually do the math, it's not that small. Before, there was a plan, a very complex compensation plan, clearly for professionals. Now, the 3 years of startup are over, so we want to involve many more people. We want to help people, even those without experience. We also want to give a bit of a boost to those already working with us, so we have introduced the plan. Earnings now come in just 3 very simple forms. And I wrote them down here for you. I made the slides myself, so sorry if they're simple, but I preferred to make them myself anyway. Nowadays, with artificial intelligence, you can do anything. There are 3 forms of earnings: a direct bonus, so I'll tell you clearly, based on what you directly invoice. So, if someone through you wants to make their rental, nothing will be taken away from that person, but you will receive a direct bonus as compensation. I'm not going to give you percentages right now because the person who invited you here today as a guest will explain that to you. But just know that the percentages are quite good. They're interesting. And I repeat, it's redistributed. 40% of the revenue. So the company almost considers you a partner, okay? Then there's a binary bonus, meaning you can have a team on the right and a team on the left, made up of people who start with you, and then they too can bring in. But you will always have a right team and a left team. When you balance the 2 teams, because we need to help both work well, we must not abandon the teams. When you balance them, you will be paid with a binary bonus, okay? Then there's also this to explain how it works, but honestly, it only takes 5 minutes. And then there's a matching bonus. I'm helping the people on my team to grow, so I've created leaders and so on and so forth based on how much I help them. I earn as well. I get a small percentage in addition to what they have already earned. In other words, nothing is taken away from them. For me, there's a small profit called the matching bonus. Simple, fast, powerful, nothing difficult to explain, nothing difficult to do. It's for everyone, okay? So then there's also a plan, a career plan. We know that out there, building a career is extremely difficult, but here there's a scalable professional plan, and above all, the qualifications. Now they will be updated and they will be announced at the event, so I don't want to spoil any surprises for you, and so on and so forth. Just know that all the qualifications are professional, with names that truly represent the professionalism we bring to the field. The plan is meritocratic and progressive, so we have recognitions that will be given out. Also, for those who enjoy these things at various company events, both online and offline. And a very important thing, there are opportunities for international business and international leadership. So leaders will be recognized on a global level because we are opening up a lot of markets. So it's very interesting even for those who, like me, I'll say it openly because I love these things. Maybe you love bringing knowledge and making a positive impact on as many people as possible out there. Okay, now as we've seen the customer, maybe now we want to do business. All right, I want to do business, and maybe I've already decided from the start that this is what I want to do. Business, I don't want to start out as a customer and then become someone who does business, which would be enough. I get my kit, I open the partner license for €50, which you pay once a year. And from that moment on, a back office opens up for me that's slightly different, because clearly I'll be able to check on my team, monitor how I'm working, look at certain metrics, and so on and so forth. The compensation plan opens up and so on. But I'll tell you more. If you've immediately realized that this business is right for you and you want to start doing business right away, it's simple. You open the partner license instead of the customer one. There are two different licenses. The customer license is free. The partner license costs 50 euros. So basically it's free. Okay. Just imagine that if you open a business, you have to pay an accountant, the premises, food, or clothing inventory. We're talking about a whole different level. Here, it's truly accessible to everyone. Each person has their own online business. Now, here's something fundamental. You will also have to choose your kit. My advice is do what you would like others to do with you. Meaning, when people ask me if they can afford a higher level kit, which one should they choose? Go for the highest one you can afford, because one day people will ask you, which one did you choose? And the faster you want to go in your business, clearly, the better it will be if you have the highest kit. But aside from that, while you are doing business, your kit is giving you Bitcoin in return. How do you pay? The usual ways. How do we receive the money? We receive it in Bitcoin. We receive Bitcoin, we get paid every week. Very simple. So every week we will have our weekly payments. Monday, from when the new compensation plan starts, it will be on Monday, because we realize that it's easier for people to have the money at the start of the week. Monday. Now, another important thing, why do this kind of business? Why join a company like ours, a movement like ours? First of all, because we need an empowering peer group, not a disempowering one, as we saw earlier. So this is the fundamental thing. Number two, because here there is one-on-one support. The person who signs you up, or even the other people who are, so to speak, on your team, since we are all connected to each other, will help you one-on-one. For example, to set up appointments, to learn things, to clear up your doubts, to show you how the back office works, anything at all, because we truly work together as one. Another important thing is that there are practical tools that experienced leaders, as I mentioned, not just myself, clearly there are also others we have on the team, but above all, even experienced entrepreneurs have created these tools to make the business as easy as possible. Because I repeat, we earn from the revenue generated by everyone, in the sense that together we generate revenue. So the simpler it is, the more we build, the more we earn, and our goal is for everyone to do well. Okay? So for you to do well, for us to do well, for everyone to do well, another important thing is that there is a proven system, because now we are no longer a startup that's just getting started. We are a company with 3 years of history, 3 years of success. We have built over $35 million, so not small change. To put it in euros, that's 30 million euros, okay? So not small change. That's a lot of money in 3 years. I don't know how many companies you know that have built that much. We have important mentorships, because here there are experienced leaders who, when needed, really step in personally to provide mentorship, and so on and so forth. And then there are the events, trips, the Experience Award, boot camps, and so on, all organized specifically to help us grow, but also to have a good time, to take some pleasure trips, and to all get together. I repeat, the 6th and 7th. If you haven't gotten it yet, the ticket really costs nothing. Guests pay 30 euros and distributors pay 50 euros. We're talking about nothing.